views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Russell. Welcome to the Healing Light Podcast. I am a psychic intuitive who's been reading tarot cards for over 25 years. I'm also Reiki certified. Join me as I read cards, share intuitive messages, promote healing, and much, much more. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Healing Light Podcast. I'm your host, Caitlin Russell, and I'd like to thank you all for tuning in and listening to tonight's episode. We're here with Melody Larson from Melody's Reiki Healing. So we're going to talk about Reiki and healing, and we're going to discuss the benefits of it and all sorts of interesting knowledge about healing in itself. As always, I want to thank Paranormal Buzz Radio for being my host, and I appreciate you tuning in. As always, you can find me on the Healing Light NH on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and TikTok. Yes, exactly. And if you have any questions, show suggestions, please feel to email me at healinglight1@gmail.com. So welcome to the show. So Melody, welcome. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on my podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. The honor's all mine.
Okay. So I want to, as I love Reiki so much, I could talk about it forever, but I introduced Reiki, well, maybe it was my first or second show. I forget which. But I didn't really, I kind of gave it an overview. So tonight I kind of want to talk about how wonderful it is, and then what it does for you. And we'll review things like the chakras and how we can help heal them and why it's beneficial to work with a Reiki practitioner. So I know for me, gosh, it's many, many years ago. I want to say 2009, 2010. And I'm truly trying to think how I got connected with Mary D'Alba. She's a psychic medium and a Reiki master. And I remember hearing about Reiki, but not really understanding it. So she introduced me to it, and she attuned me to, and I was hooked. I was absolutely hooked when I heard about it. She attuned me to Reiki 1 and 2, and she's finishing up my Reiki Master series. And so, I don't know, it's been that long, and I know I'm really passionate about it. I feel it's changed my life, my healing journey, those around me. I've seen it in action, so I know it really, it's a really great benefit. So before we get into what Reiki is and what does it do, I wanted to ask you to maybe talk about your history, what you do and who you are, and maybe your journey with Reiki so that people understand where you're coming from.
That sounds wonderful. I'd love to do that. So my adventure with Reiki actually started with me as a non-believer. I didn't even know what Reiki was for the longest time. I just kind of learned about it, I want to say about 4 or 5 years ago. I was taking some classes, and a couple of my classmates kept talking about this energy healing, this thing called Reiki. And I was like, what are you guys even talking about? I don't know. I don't even know what that word means. So they would chit chat with me about it. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, that's cool. Like if that's your thing, that's cool. But I don't really believe in it. So I had a friend of mine. She was like, I know you're a non-believer, but come to this church with me. They do a psychic kind of church where we talk about our different journeys and different things in life, feeling of spirits, feeling of energy around us, and then they end with some Reiki healing, like a couple of minutes. A practitioner will work with you, and I was like, oh, okay, well, this is my chance. So we went, and it was a beautiful, beautiful thing. We got to chit chat with some psychics. They pulled some messages. It was a really awesome time. And then when that practitioner put their hands on me, it was the most amazing, warming, opening feeling I'd ever experienced in my entire life. I try to tell people it's like this golden bomb of light that goes off, and you just like open up. And it was gorgeous. And like, of course, because there were so many people, they only did like a couple of minutes with just like a few of the main hand sources by placing their hands on your shoulders, the back of your neck, and the top of your head. And it left me yearning for more. And that was really how my journey started. I then found my own Reiki teacher, and I have since become master certified in Usui, the basic form of Reiki that everybody kind of takes when they're starting out. And I have also done Karuna Kai, which is more of a heart-centered, loving, caring, centered Reiki healing, because I'm very much a heart person. And then I've also become master certified in Shambhala Reiki, so I can connect more to the ancestors and spirit itself.
Wow, that's fascinating. So I heard about Shambhala, but I wasn't quite sure what that means. And I know what you're saying about how when it affects you, you could think of yourself, yeah, I've heard of it, I'm curious about it. But when I was attuned to Reiki 1, when I went to Mary, she did Reiki on me, and it was just, I can still get like this warm feeling. I mean, I'm getting chills thinking about it because it was so life-changing, but it was such a life-affirming energy, and it just, I felt like, my God, this is it. This is what it means, and it was just amazing. And then, well, I mean, I've used it for myself, and I've used it on friends. So I'm sure there are people out there like, what the heck is Reiki? Or maybe they've heard about it. So how would you define it and what it does for people? What is it?
So I refer to it as a hands-on channeled energy. I do have like the dictionary quote for what you'll get called for Reiki. It says Reiki by definition is a technique based off the principle that your practitioner can channel energy into you, the patient, by means of touch to activate the natural healing process to restore a mental and physical well-being. So all in all, it's us channeling energy either up from the earth or down from the cosmos, or even a little bit of both. And we work that energy through the cells in our body, through our veins, through our chakra system, into our hands, to our patients. Some of us do hands-on Reiki. That's how I prefer. I feel like when I place my hands gently on you, it helps me better connect with your spirit. But if you go to places like hospitals and stuff, they have a hands-off policy, so the hands just hover above you, and you can still receive that same kind of healing. I just know for myself, as a personal practitioner, I do prefer the hands-on method.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for that. So, so when we talk about Reiki, what, I mean, I know what I've used it for, but why don't we expand on it a little bit? So, like, what have you used it for with your people who sit for you?
Well, I use it for clients who come to see me. So people, obviously, we can offer them healing, and really down to anything. I've offered Reiki to my animals. My animals are actually energy vampires. They love to jump up on the table when I'm offering Reiki to my clients. I have two cats that absolutely adore having Reiki done. So they'll sit with my clients. My dog enjoys a Reiki session every now and again herself. Sometimes she has a hard time sitting still for the sessions. I know people who do Reiki for barn animals like horses and pigs for the overall well being of the farm to help yield better products in the long run. You can even do it on your household plants. If you notice your plants are starting to wilt and you're like, well, gee, I've checked the fertilizer and I'm making sure they're getting their water and they're in a sunny spot. What more can I do? You can offer them Reiki healing energy and allow them to feel that coming from you, because the more you offer them love, the more they're going to be able to give that love back to you by sprouting anew.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I forgot that you can use it on plants and trees and flowers and all that. Yep, I've used it on my animals, and I know they do kind of get squiggly and wormy, but I know that Reiki's going to go where it's going to go, where it's needed. So even if they do get a little bit swirly on me, I know that the Reiki's going to still have that same effect. I've used it, believe it or not, to help me find lost objects. My fiance recently, we couldn't find her diamond ring, and we couldn't find her grandmother's gold wedding band that she always wore because something happened and her hand was swelling, so she took the rings off.
Right.
And so I said, okay. The day before, I said, all right, I'm going to send Reiki. Let's find these rings. So the next morning, I get up and I go into my office, and as always, I infuse Reiki into my day. Let's have a good day, and I use my selenite wand, and I wave some sage or Palo Santo around me, and then I want to set some intentions because I'm looking to have something manifest in my life. So I write out my intentions, and I have a Reiki box. And I call it my Reiki box because that's where I put all my intentions, and people that have intentions and want healing, I put it in my Reiki box. So I open the Reiki box, and what do I see? I see a black velvet ring box, and in the box are the two rings.
Oh, wow.
I don't remember putting them there. I honestly don't. We tore this house apart looking for these rings. We could not find them. And she said, your office is next. I said, okay. So before we did that, I don't know. I said it like, let's do this. So I've used it for that. Before a meeting at work, I'll send Reiki. Like I'll put it against my keyboard and my computer monitors for my day job and have a great meeting. Let's have a positive interactions for the day.
I love that.
What?
I love that. What a great idea.
Yeah, it's a fantastic idea. Oh yeah, absolutely. Reiki works on so many ways. And I also know that it goes into the past and can heal past trauma and wounds. So I'm a trauma survivor. So I'm looking for healing. I'm on a healing journey for that. So I sent it back into my childhood to help heal the little girl who was wounded. And again, it was that experience. It was like taking a big breath out, exhale after you inhale and hold it in. It was amazing. So I've used it on myself. I use it on people. It's really incredible. So one of the things that we talk about with the body And we know that Reiki kind of goes where it wants to go, but we talk about chakras. So I really wanted people to understand what they are and why they're important, and talk about healing your chakras. So can you give us a little bit more of your take on what the chakras are in the body and how they why they need healing and how Reiki helps with that?
Absolutely. I'd love to do that. So, like a engine in the car that has many different components, and when one component in the engine of your vehicle goes, it makes the other ones work that much harder. The same can be said for our central chakra system. So there are many, many, many chakras, but there are seven main ones. And it's funny because our seven main chakras are lit according to the colors of the rainbow, believe it or not. So I always thought that that was really, really interesting. So there's a lot of different ways to work with chakra work, and I will kind of go into that a little bit with each one. So we start from the bottom up. We have seven chakras. Number 7 is our root chakra, and its color is red. It's located at the first 3 vertebrae of your back, so the very bottom of your sit bone. And it's focused on survival, and it helps you with a base foundation for life. Now, you'll know that this chakra is balanced if you're at peace with your future and the direction that your life is moving in. But when you feel more focused on like hoarding material possessions or even money, even though like you might have enough to sustain you and your family to kind of like pay your bills, but you're still like, oh, I got to scroll it away. That might be a sign that you're experiencing a little bit of blockage in that chakra. So with that said, there are a lot of different ways to heal the blockages in your chakra system. And a few that I thought worth mentioning, and by any means, it's not a comprehensive full list. Everybody's welcome to do their research and find something that works specifically for them. But there is breath work. And one of the most common forms of breath work is what's called box breathing, where you breathe in for a count of 4, you hold it for a count of 4, and you release for a count of 4. Doing that 4 times helps you to feel kind of like centered and grounded. So that's a really, really great way to like kind of just take a quick pause to be able to kind of heal your body and your spirit. Another is yoga, which is great unblocker. Some poses such as downward dog, cobra pose, and tree pose are especially good for healing. And then there are other things such as mantras, crystals, aromatherapy, and of course, our personal favorite, Reiki healing, which both Caitlin and I happen to be practitioners of. So, of course, it's going to be the main topic of our discussion.
Yeah.
So that'll bring us to the next chakra in our system, working up. So number 6 is orange, and that's called our sacral, and it's located right about your navel. And it's associated with sexuality. So when it's balanced, you'll have a healthy sense of passion and joy and overall just like happiness in relationships. However, it might be unbalanced if you have some trauma or shame around sex, having either a low or even an overactive libido. Those might be a couple of signs that you need a little bit of work on. The next one would be your solar plexus, which is kind of located in the 6-pack area. And it's actually where 90% of your body's serotonin level is made. We're taught a lot of times that serotonin is made in the brain, and that's true, but only 10% of your serotonin comes from your brain, which is so important for your mood and sleep and digestion. You'll know that this chakra is balanced when you have a good sense of purpose and self-worth. However, when it's unbalanced, you might have a sense of anxiety or like you against the world, feeling like you have to compete with others, like your coworkers and others in life. Deep breathing is especially great for this chakra. It's a really good way to clear out some of that negative energy. We then got to green. for the heart, which is number 4, it's a little bit different than your anatomical heart. This is more of the diamond light in the center of your chest. You know it's really balanced when you have a healthy love for yourself and others, that you can give and receive love totally freely. When it's unbalanced, you might feel a sense of codependency or dependency on others or certain situations. A good way to clear that chakra is to pet an animal or give some love to a sibling or a child that's around you. That'll help open you up to be able to give and receive that love that's so important for balance. Then we go to number 3, which is our throat chakra. It's located in your neck, and it's especially good for communication. That's kind of its specialty. And you know that it's balanced when you are okay with speaking your truth and speaking your mind. That's not necessarily to say like you're an overzealous jerk that goes about just saying every little thing that pops in your head, but that you're comfortable. When it's unbalanced, it'll look a couple of different ways. Either you're really, really self-reserved. You don't really partake in conversations because you're not sure of your wording or of yourself. Or you might speak out with like a vengeance, like a violence, like when people turn to slandering in politics and stuff like that. Like that's not how we want to speak to one another. Then we go up to our third eye, which is right in between our eyebrows, and that is the color indigo. And that's connected to your inner wisdom and your sense of knowing. It'll be balanced when you are able to connect with your higher self or receive guidance. You know, you see little things around you. Some people see cardinals and they're like, oh, that's, you know, a sign that my loved ones are with me. Or, you know, sometimes I'll see particular stones or things like that. Then you know you're kind of open and you're clear and you're balanced. You might feel unbalanced if you're kind of feeling depressed or not feeling quite like you have a sense of purpose. Like you're like, where am I going? What am I doing? Why am I here? You might have a little bit of blocking in that area. And then number 1 is violet, and that is your crown chakra. It's on top of your head, much like a halo in depictions of religious art. This chakra makes us one with our spirituality. So when it's balanced, you just have a good sense of oneness. You understand your spiritual practice, if you will. Whatever you perceive God to be, universe, Gaia, however that looks like for you. You have that fulfillment from that. When it's unbalanced, you might have a sense of like isolation, feeling like you have to be alone or like you're a lone wolf here in the world. So those are some signs that you might be unblocked or blocked in your chakras and that maybe you need to do some energy work or some journaling.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Great information. And I really liked the way you incorporated that. I'm a firm believer in this too, that, you know, you kind of, you own your own healing journey. So you are the director of your life, and there are things that you can do to take back your power with your chakras. And I absolutely agree. Now with box breathing, it's so funny that you mentioned that, because I swear I was just reading a book by Brene Brown, and I love her so much. And she was talking about box breathing. And it's just so funny that here I am talking to you a couple days later after reading it. So I tried it, and yeah, it's really, it's amazing. And I think she said that the military actually uses box breathing. Like it's pretty well known.
Yeah, it's offered a lot of times in therapy as well.
Yes, yeah, right. It sure is. Yeah. You know, one thing that I know I can tell people to help too. It's called, and I learned this, it's called tapping. I don't know if you've ever heard of tapping.
Yeah, I'm working on getting registered.
Oh, really? You are? Oh,
Yeah.
that's so cool. I really, when it really helps. And when I know for me, when I was going through with my therapy, my therapist introduced me to it. It's just that roller coaster of emotions, icky feeling you get when you're reliving something and talking through it. Helps you, get through it. That tapping is a good method to use. So yeah.
Absolutely. I actually want to, my goal is to eventually be able to teach Reiki classes, and I want to incorporate some tapping into the Reiki classes to be like, oh, and here's another thing.
Yeah. See, it's like the tools in our toolbox. So you've got Reiki, but you've also got tapping, and you've got box breathing. There's a lot that I don't think people are aware of that, hey, I need help with this. And how do I get help with this? Well, here are some options for you that are um, no charge at all. There's easy things you can do uh, to start the healing process. Now, what I wanted to ask you as a practitioner is, so you're in a session, and uh, I think to the point where someone might feel like, oh, I keep getting these headaches, but then your Reiki also is drawn to, like, I don't know, the knee or something like that. So I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but I kind of find that when Reiki kind of goes where it's most needed, so it might help a headache, but it also might also travel to your knee. Do you find that as well? Like it goes to like more than one area.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's one of the wonderful things about Reiki. But I always tell everybody, just as like kind of a fail safe as well, like you can come to me and say, okay, my knee hurts. But if you have some trauma or some stuff that's going on and the Reiki feels like that's what it needs to go towards, babe, it's going to go to that first and then it'll go to that knee pain secondary. So Reiki is like kind of its own entity. And we're literally just the vessels that kind of like push out the energy and let it flow and do its thing. But I feel like Reiki is great for both the physical and the mental. So absolutely, I think it's all transitional.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, can someone feel like, all right, you've held my sacral chakra, um, but now it's like, the symptoms are back or it's acting up again. So, I mean, is that something that you have seen where you feel like someone might need a repeat session, or um, I mean, is that possible, do you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think when we feel that clearing of one area, sometimes it takes multiple sessions to be able to get through everything that's ailing somebody. I tell people, I always recommend 3 weeks in a row of doing Reiki, because your first session for many Reiki masters, I find it's almost like working through the murk and the mire in a really dense swamp. It takes a while. You get rid of it bit by bit. So you might clear out one chakra or one past trauma, but then they're like, oh, well, and then this thing. Yes, that's going to be expected because this is your first time with the energy. So just like it takes us multiple sessions to be able to become Reiki Master certified, there's different things we have to learn. There's different techniques. There's different symbols. It's the same thing for our people who are coming onto our table. We all come with life stuff. And sometimes it takes a little while to clear some of that out.
Yeah, I agree. And I will tell people, I'll say, when the Reiki is finished, I've had people who it doesn't hit always right away. Sometimes, you might feel something tomorrow, but you might feel kind of icky tomorrow. Because it's bringing out the stuff that needs to be dealt with. So you may feel it, you might feel it like the day after or a few hours later. And sometimes people report back to me that they feel the benefits of it, at a later time as well. So it's amazing to me. And I just wanted to tell people that the difference between like doing a psychic or medium session, like I know that if I've done a ton of readings, that can kind of drain my energy and I need to rest and recharge. But with Reiki, because it's already existing within the body and within us, and we're acting as that, as my mentor says, that hollow bone where the energy goes, it doesn't deplete us of our energy. So it's really, to me, amazing when it does that. So I just wanted to add that in.
Absolutely. And I tell people it can take 24 to 48 hours after having your Reiki session to really have that sense of well-being drop into place, because we have worked so much energy and we're trying to clear out so much. It might take a little while. I always tell people to drink a lot of water too. It's very similar to when you go to the chiropractor and they release a lot of toxins into your body with all the popping. I tell them it's the same thing. Go home, take a warm shower, a warm bath, maybe sit in some sunlight, let it sit and settle and clear. Because if you don't feel it right away, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Maybe it's something you need to sit with almost in a meditative state or in a relaxed state so that your body can finally take that big breath at the end of the day, much like carrying all that work tension with you. You go home and you finally sit and you're just like, oh, thank goodness. That's when Reiki's going to hit you. That's when you're going to be like, oh, okay, there it is, because sometimes it does take a little bit longer, but for others, they might feel it as soon as your hands touch them. Everybody's different, and that's totally okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, everyone's different. So it affects people a different way. You never know. And I think it would just really surprise people that they can feel that healing once it does, once we start that process. So I'm trying to think what else. What else should people know about healing in general, Reiki, energy? What else can we tell people who might need help with healing?
It's a never-ending rabbit hole. There's always going to be something else that's going to come up. You're going to be like, oh, and this, oh, and this. So it's okay once you get onto that journey, if you kind of feel like you're like, okay, so where's the end of the road? Because it's like anything in life. It's a learning journey. It's learning about yourself. It's learning about life. It's learning about how the cosmos really, truly work. It's just like right now, people are seeing a difference with the Schumann sequence, which is basically the heartbeat of the earth, which is changing quite a bit right now. We're seeing a lot of different bumps and lumps in it, and it's almost making like a DNA sequence. So things are just never ending, and it's always going to be learning. There's always more out there that you can learn about. You might get into Reiki and be like, okay, well, this is great for me, but now I want to get into singing bowls, or now I want to get into meditation, or now I want to get into tapping, or now I want to, so it's so much fun and it's so much help. And there are so many of us out here. Sometimes we're not always seen in the sunshine. I think. So once people come and they realize, they're like, oh, wow, there's all this cool stuff I can do for myself. Aromatherapy, or sometimes even standing under a hot shower and visualizing kind of the junk from the day going down the drain, and you're just taking in white light. It's another great form of clearing. So there are so many different ways we can help ourselves other than pumping our bodies full of pharmaceuticals.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I know that I do that in the shower. I also, I do this for myself, and I tell my clients, just imagine, picture yourself in your mind, a white beam of energy, and it comes down. It starts at the top of your head, and just very slowly goes down through your body down to the end of your tip of your toes, and that white light is your protection. People, there's rocks, crystals, there's all sorts of things you can do to help aid the healing process. So I think one of my goals with this whole healing journey is to have people realize that they deserve to heal. They absolutely deserve to heal, and they deserve to feel better, and they can, and that there are options out there for you, and there's people who are more than willing to help you on the journey. So to that end, so if someone wanted to book with you or reach out to you, how do they get you, Melody?
So some of the best ways you can find me is on Facebook through Melody's Reiki Healing. I'm also on Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn under the same name. I do have a website, but it's up and running, but I'm like in the process of working on it. So it's like kind of paused right now. I do have a link tree available here in the bio for anybody to find me, but your best bet is probably through Instagram or Facebook.
All right, thank you. Absolutely. So be sure that when you're done listening to this, downloading this episode and listening to it, go to Melody's page, Instagram or Facebook, and make sure that you get in contact with her because she's amazing. So I wanted to thank you again for being such a wonderful guest. I really believe that you helped enlighten the listeners, and I think you make their lives a whole lot better by being out there, us as practitioners. So I want to thank you. Do you have any final words to offer?
Well, thank you, Caitlin, so much for having me and helping me on this healing journey. It takes a tribe for all of us to get together. And guys, please do feel free to reach out, even if you feel like Reiki maybe isn't your thing. Maybe you want to look into other forms. We're always here to help. So whatever works for you, works for us. Please feel free to touch base so we can figure out your healing journey together.
Thank you so much. Everyone, thank you so much for listening. This is Caitlin from the Healing Light Podcast, and I will wish you a good night. Thank you.
Good night.